Hey, this is Ben Tate for CG Tuts, and in this tutorial we're going to be creating a high-res car rim, and this is it over here, and this will be the final result of this tutorial. I'm going to be using 3D Studio Max 9 for this, so if you have that version or a higher version, you should be able to follow along fine. We're going to be using a lot of ring, connect, and loop in Max, so if you're using older version or other software package, as long as you can recreate those commands, you shouldn't have any problems following this. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just set up a blueprint to follow along and model against. Then we'll look at creating a animated X-ray material, and then we'll start out modeling the spokes, then the rim, and finally we'll do the lug nuts and the center hub. Right, and these are a couple screenshots down here of this tutorial. And before we actually get into modeling, let's actually take a look at this model inside Max. Alright, so here we are in Max, and this will be the rim off of the new Camaro, and I just bought the car a couple months ago, so let's just get in here and take a look at the rim. Alright, so we're not going to be modeling the rotors or the brakes or the tire, we're just going to concentrate on the rim. Alright, so let's hide that other stuff. Alright, and if you're really new to Max and just starting out, I'd maybe recommend trying something a little bit simpler. This can be a little bit complicated. I'm going to try to go slow and explain it as best I can, but yeah, if you're really new, you might want to try something a little bit simpler for your first go. Alright, so that's what we're going to be doing, and let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is set up our blueprint. So let's just go into the front view, and let's just grab a plane, and we'll drag that out. Alright, and let's just do a one by one. And I'm also going to turn off the grids with G and the selection bracket with J, just because I find it distracting. And we'll also turn on our shaded faces with F3 and our edged faces with F4. Alright, so let's open up my material editor. And I just have my image here loaded into the diffuse slot as a bitmap on just a standard material. Alright, so let's assign that to the plane and show it in the viewport. And we'll also set the self-illumination to 100%, just to make things easy to see. And now let's resize our plane to our image size. And in this case, mine is 922 by 1273. Right, and hopefully everybody can see this okay. It's a little sketchy. My video card kind of sucks, so but it should be alright. So one more thing to do is we want to center this to the world, and now that our image here isn't square and the rim isn't centered on it, we're just going to need to line this up with the grid lines, the center grid lines. Alright, so I'm just going to turn back on the grids. And in the front, or actually the top viewport, let's just move this back a bit. Alright, in the front view, I'm just going to zoom in here. And I'm just going to line the center edge on our rim here up with the center grid line. Alright, so let's just move that over and line it up. Okay, so it looks pretty good. So we'll turn the grids back off with G. So we're going to start here on the center part and the spokes, and then we'll do the rim later on. Alright, so let's zoom in, and we're going to do this out of a plane as well. So let's just drag one out here. And something like that. Okay, and before we actually start modeling, we're just going to make a material to apply to this that will help us out. Alright, so I'm going to go down here to the time configuration, and we're going to change the length of our animation to just one frame. So you can just right click the spinner and OK, and it'll give us 2 frames at the bottom. So we're going to open the material editor again, and let's grab a new slot, and I'm just going to change the diffuse color to say something reddish or whatever color you like. Alright, and let's go down here. And we're just going to hit the auto key button for a second, and we're going to add a keyframe at the first frame, or frame 0. Okay. Then we're going to move the slider to the second frame, and we're going to change the opacity of the material to say 35%. Okay. And then we'll add a key there and turn the auto key button off. Okay. So let's go back to the first frame here, and we can assign our material to the plane, right, and close that now. And you can see that we have the solid material there, and then when we flip between frames, we have kind of a see-through X-ray type material, similar to Max's default one, but a little easier to see with some color and shading in there. Alright, so I'll be flipping between these constantly as we're going along. And you can flip between frames with the comma and period buttons. Right? Okay, so let's right click and convert our plane to editable poly. I'm just going to go to vertex for a second here, and we're just going to line this up a little bit better. Alright, so I'm just going to line the edge up with the corner here on each side. Try to get this centered. Okay. And now the first thing we're going to do is go into edge and just grab these two edges here, and we'll do a connect on that. Let's just do one segment, and we'll slide that down, and we're just going to line it up with this top horizontal edge here. Okay. And now we'll go back into vertex and select these two vertices, and we're just going to scale those in on the X. Alright, and we're really only going to worry about lining stuff up on the left side of the spoke. Later on we'll be mirroring it over and welding it up, so that'll make sure that everything's even. But right now we're just going to concentrate on the left side. Alright, so we're just going to pull those in there, and we'll do the same with the bottom ones. Just pull those in and line them up. Alright. And with these two bottom verts still selected, let's jump into the perspective view. Alright, and I'm just going to pull these back on the y-axis. Alright, and now that we don't have any kind of side angle or view of the rim, we're going to have to kind of just do this blind and eyeball it. Alright, so let's just pull these back. And let's go into the left view here. Let's just pull it back something like that, maybe. And I think that looks about right. And one more thing I'm going to do here is just going to move my blueprint back a little bit more to give us some more room. Okay. Alright, so let's go into the left view here again. And we'll go into edge, and let's just select these two edges here, and we'll do a loop on those. And then we're just going to hold shift and drag these back on the x-axis just to get a clone. Alright, so let's give that some thickness. And then we'll go into vertex and grab these bottom ones. And we're just going to make this a little bit thicker as it goes down. Alright, something like that maybe. So just a slight taper on this. Okay. And then let's also select these other vertices here, so we have all the ones in the back, all 6 of them. Select it. And in the front view, let's just scale these out on the X. And just line this edge up here. And then we'll go down here and we'll just select this vert and this one. And we're just going to move those up. And scale them out slightly. And we'll do the same thing with these bottom two. Let's grab that one and this one. I'll move those straight up. And we just want to line it up with the corner here. Alright. So let's go back into edge. And we'll select this middle edge here and do a ring and a connect. And we'll do 2 segments, no slide, and we'll just pinch these apart. And let's just line them up with this edge running down here. Okay, so say about 73 or so on the pinch. Alright, and let's grab these edges here, and we'll do a connect on that. And let's do 1 segment, no pinch, and we'll just slide that up. And we're just going to line it up with the edge at the top of this inset here. Alright, so just going along there. And OK. And in the perspective view, let's see. Let's go into polygon and select this front middle polygon. Alright. And we're going to come over here to hinge from edge and click that little box there, and then go pick hinge, and we'll pick the top edge. Okay. And for the angle, we're going to do, say, -20 or so. And OK. And let me just change the color of this so you can see it better. Let's make that a blue color. Alright, so like that. And then we'll go back into the left viewport, and in vertex, I'm going to grab these 2 here. And we're just going to pull those straight forward just to straighten this edge out. Okay. And with those 2 verts still selected, we're just going to scale them in and line them up. Something like that. And then we'll go into edge again, and let's select one of these edges here, and we'll do a ring on that and a connect. And let's do 4 segments, no pinch, no slide, and OK. And then we're just going to move these verts up. So let's select these 4 here. We'll just pull those straight up, and we just want to round this out. So something like that. And we'll do the same thing at the bottom. Pull these 4 straight down, and these 2. Alright, so just so we got some roundness on there. Okay, then we'll go back into edge, and we'll select these 5 edges along the bottom. And we're going to hold shift and drag those down on the Y. Alright, then we'll just target weld these corners up. So let's do this guy to this guy, and this one to this one. And we can maybe space these out a bit down here, so let's grab this vert and this one. And I'm going to put on edge constraint over here. Right, and let's just scale those out a bit. And we can scale these ones a little bit too. Alright. So let's go over here, and we'll grab this edge here, and we'll shift drag that out. Whoops. Make sure you don't have the edge constraint still on. So just hold shift and drag that out, and then we'll just line up the verts. This one down here, and this one over here. Okay. Then we'll select one of these middle edges here, and we'll do a ring and a connect. And we're just going to do 1 segment, no pinch, no slide, just so it's straight down the center. And OK. Then we'll go into vertex again, and we're just going to switch to wireframe with F3. And we're just going to select all the verts on this side of the center mark, and we'll just delete those for a second. Okay. And now we'll do a mirror. And before we do that, actually, let's move our pivot point over. You can see that's quite a bit off here from the edge. So let's go into the hierarchy panel, click Effect Pivot Only, and we're just going to move this over on the X and line it up with the edge. Okay, like so. Then we'll turn that back off, and now we'll do our mirror. So let's do a copy on the X-axis, and OK. Then we'll attach these 2 together. And this will just make sure that we have everything even on both sides. Alright, so let's weld this up. So I'm going to go into vertex and back into wireframe. and I'm just going to go down the center, selecting the verts. Okay, and you can see we have 12 selected over here, so we want to have a difference of 6 when we weld. So let's go up on that a bit. Okay, so now that's all welded up. We'll go back into edge and make sure you have this center edge selected. We'll do a loop on that, and I'm just going to control backspace that, and I'll remove the edge as well as the verts. Alright, and we'll come down here again and select these edges again, and we'll shift drag those down and do the same process. Target weld these corners and space out the verts. So let's put the edge constraint back on, and we'll just scale these out a bit just to give it some better spacing. Alright, so that's what we have so far, and let's go in here and go into polygon, and we're just going to select these 5 polygons in the middle here. I'm going to extrude these in for the hole, so let's do a negative extrude. Let's do negative 40, and that looks probably about right, so we'll go with that. And let's also go around the back here. Oops. And let's just select these 2 edges, one on each side, and we'll do a loop, right? And then we'll deselect this one down here and the same one on the other side. Okay, so we just have them going up the length of this. Then we'll come over here and we're going to hit bridge, and that'll close that in for us. Okay. Alright, and we're actually not going to bother closing the top of this in. That'll be either inside the rim or inside the tire, and you'll never see it, so there's really no reason to do that. Alright, so let's go in here and add some support edges. So this will maintain the shape when we turbo smooth it. So let's select one of these edges on the inside of the hole, and we'll do a ring on that. Let's do a connect, and we'll do 2 segments, and let's just pinch those apart. Let's do something like maybe 85 or so on the pinch, and OK. Then let's select this edge here, and we'll ring that as well, and do a connect on that. And let's bring the pinch down a bit. Let's do 60 or so, and OK. And I think we'll need one here as well, so let's ring that edge and connect it. And let's go 1 segment, no pinch, and we'll just slide that up a bit, say around negative 50 or so. And then we'll just move this vert on the back up to make this a little more even. So make sure you have the edge constraint still on, and we'll just move this vert up. Alright, and the same thing on this side, just move this up. And now we're also going to need one along the top of the hole, so let's grab an edge here and do a ring and a connect, and we'll just bring this edge down, say around 95 or so on the slide, and OK. Then we'll come in here and we'll just manually select these edges along the top of the hole, just these 6 here, and we'll connect those, and we'll also do that 95 on the slide with 1 segment. Alright, so let's go into vertex. We'll just grab this one here and this one here, and we'll just do a connect on that, and it'll cut that edge for us. And we'll do the same thing on this side, select that one and that one, and just do a connect. Alright. And we're also going to need a support edge in the bottom of this hole, so let's go back into polygon, and let's grab these pulleys, and we'll do an inset on that, and we'll just leave that at 1, and that'll give us a support edge around the inside. Right, and don't think we need any more right now. We might need to add one along here, but we'll leave that one for now, and if we need to add it, we'll do it later on. Right. Alright, so let's go into the front view, and we're just going to go into the hierarchy panel and click Effect Pivot Only. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to right click on the Move tool, and we're just going to zero out the Z or Z spinner just to drop the pivot point for our spoke down to the center of our rim. Alright, so we'll just close that, and then we'll turn the Effect Pivot button off. And this is just setting it up for the array tool, which is what we'll be using to create the copies of our spoke. You could use the symmetry modifier to do this, but I just prefer doing it with the array tool. Alright, so with our spoke selected and our pivot point moved, we're going to go up to Tools and Array, and we're going to activate Rotate and put 360 degrees in the Z. Then we want to choose Copy over here, and we want 5 of them. Okay, and then we'll just hit OK, and there we go, we got our 5 copies. And let's just check to make sure everything's lined up. That looks pretty good. Alright, so we'll reselect our original piece, and let's just attach these together. So let's go attach, we'll just attach all 5 of them. Okay, and I'm just going to change the wire color on this to black. Alright, and now we'll go into Vertex, and let's go into Wireframe. And we're just going to zoom in here, and we have to do some welding here. So let's just grab these 2 back vertices here. We're just going to weld these up, so let's open up the weld box, and we'll just put a high amount in here, let's say like 20. Okay, we'll hit OK. And we're going to go down here and grab these 2, and we'll weld those, and these ones here. Alright, and we'll just work our way around the rim, welding 2 at a time. And you can actually leave the weld box open and just hit apply for every set of them if you want. Alright, so just down the seam between each spoke. And grab these 2, do that. Okay, and we'll also do these ones here. So let's grab these 2 right here, and let's open this back up and put a higher number in there, say 50, and OK. And we'll do these 2 as well, and these 2. Okay. And for the center here, we're just going to go into border, and we'll select this center border, and we're just going to hit cap, and that'll close that up for us. Now we're not going to get this into complete quads here. I mean, everything else is so far, but we'll just add an edge from this vert here to this one here. So let's do a connect. Alright, that'll give us a quad here. It'll leave a triangle here, but that really won't give us any artifacting. When we turbo smooth this, the surface of this center part is completely flat, so that really won't give us any problems. Alright, so that's what we have. And now we need to add a few more support edges here before we put our turbo smooth on. So let's go back into edge, and we're just going to select the edge in the middle of between the spokes, each one going around. Okay, so all 5 of them. Alright, and we'll do a ring on those, and just make sure that your edges are going around every spoke. Okay, and then we'll do a connect, and we'll do 2 segments, no slide, and we'll just pinch those apart for our support edges. Let's do that around 88 or so on the pinch, and OK. And then let's go around the back here, and let me just hide this blueprint for a second. So I'm going to go into the display panel. I'm just going to tick on hide frozen objects. Actually, we didn't freeze that, did we? So let's just manually hide it. Alright, so let's go into border, and we'll select the back border, and let's take off our edge constraint down here. And because you're never really going to see any of this, we're just going to close this up quick. Okay. So with the border selected and the move tool, we're just going to hold shift and drag back on the Y. Okay. And we just need to bring that back a little bit. Something like that should be fine. Then we'll go into the front view. Let's just actually change this to the back view. Alright, and with the border still selected, I'm just going to go to the scale tool, and I'm going to hold shift, and we're just going to scale this in a few times. Let's do 3, say, and then we'll just hit cap, and then I'll close that up. And that really shouldn't give us any problems, even though it's a giant n-gon. So let's go on the side here, and let's add a support. So we'll just select one of these edges going around, do a ring, and another connect. And we want 2 segments. Let's just bring this in a bit. Let's do 50 or so on the pinch, and OK. Then we'll select one of these edges on the back and ring that and connect it. And we'll do 1 segment, no pinch, and let's just slide that up, say about -85 or so. Okay. And the last thing to do is just add a few support edges on the back of the spokes. So let's just select an edge on the back of each one. Okay, and then we'll do a ring. Alright, and let's connect that up. 2 segments, no slide, and just pinch those out a bit. And we'll do something like, let's do 93 or so on the pinch. Right, okay. And this really shouldn't give us any problems, so we'll just leave that like that. If you want to clean it up, you can, but just to keep the tutorial a little faster, I'm just going to leave it like that. Alright, so I think that's all the support edges we need. Let's throw a turbo smooth on here and see what we have. Alright, so 2 iterations and ice line display. And it seems to be holding up pretty good. Doesn't look like we have any artifacting. And if you do see any artifacting or weirdness, it's probably just a misweld. So just check the verts around that area if you have a problem, and see if anything needs to be welded. Alright, so I think that's okay. So I guess that takes care of the center part, and the next thing we'll do is start working on the rim.